Hi, it's Achim from InnerSpace Explorers, and today it's not one of the regular videos. Today I want to have a bit of a discussion with a guest, Steve. And before we start our conversation, if you like my content, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And also check out Steve's channel. He will talk a little bit about that in the future. And there's a link to his channel in the description of this video, and I put another one here. And then you can check out his content as well. So the reason for today's video is projects in diving. And Steve and myself just had a quick conversation about that. And you may have seen our pond video, which was my first attempt to bring this to you guys. Back in the day, the term exploration became like the word in diving. Everybody needed to go out and explore. In reality, it was just a very small elite group that did the really cool dives, like the wreck of the Britannic, cave diving, Wakulla Springs, and all that stuff. It was always only small groups. And most of the people that took all the training never did a real exploration dive. And a lot of the arguments I heard was, I don't have the funds, I cannot afford the training, I cannot travel to these remote locations, etc., etc., etc. And I said, exploration can be in front of your door. It does not have to be the 400 feet deep wreck or that cave that goes into some hole for a certain amount of kilometers or anything like that. And we started this pond project, which was basically something educational for school kids, where we started to explore small waters like small lakes, ponds, etc., and cleaned those up and made a lot of pictures and figured out, how is this water? Is there life in it? What type of fish is in there? Is there a problem with pollution, etc.? And then started to go into schools and present these. And suddenly we had a huge group of people that were super excited to be able to put a little bit of dive gear or even just an oxygen rebreather on their bicycle and go 5 kilometers and do a cool dive that they would normally not do. It's not like you did all your training and go back to the lake where you've been diving for the past couple of years just with more tanks and more equipment, but not being able to do something different. And I recently saw a project that Steve is involved, and I was super excited about it. And we had contact a couple of times before, and I asked him to join me on this video and explain a little bit about what he's doing and probably get you guys as excited as I was about it, and probably it makes you start something cool as well. So, Steve, welcome.
Thank you.
Maybe you want to give a quick introduction of
Yep.
yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Steve Luchon. I have a channel called Dive Current, and recently I was asked to come on a project at a quarry not too far from me. Well, it's about 4.5 hours from my house, but it's a quarry that I dive all the time. It's where I got certified. I'm there a lot, always training, especially throughout the winter months. And the project that I was asked to come on and help start was called Nemo's Garden. And for your viewers, if they haven't seen it, I'm sure we can leave a link in the description to what the project is. But essentially, it's an underwater greenhouse. They call it a biosphere. And we're growing plants underwater, which is really cool. And Gilboa Quarry, that's where this particular, they call it a biosphere again, that's where this biosphere is actually located. And yeah, it's not very deep, but right now we're growing thyme, basil, lavender, a bunch of cool stuff. And it's all for science. I mean, we're checking out to see, how are these plants different underwater growing compared to on the surface. So I could talk a little bit about the history of it, if you'd like, and explain a little bit for your
definitely.
viewers. So back in 2012, the founder of Ocean Reef Group, Sergio Gambarini, he actually had the idea of growing these plants in this underwater environment. So what he ended up doing was creating the first biosphere. It was very small. People couldn't fit inside it. And it was just a test to see, is this a viable thing? Could this actually work? And apparently it did. In 2015, I believe, they had their first harvest, and they grew, I believe it was basil and lettuce. And they found out, when they analyzed this in a lab, that these plants were actually healthier. They were actually better than plants that were grown on the surface. And they believe it's because of Boyle's law, partial pressures. So you have a higher CO2 environment, which plants thrive in. And as a plant is growing underwater, they're actually just better, more nutrient rich, which was really exciting for them. So fast forward, they started building more of these. And this is all based in Italy. What's really awesome is we were asked to actually put one here in the United States. So Gilboa Quarry has the first ever freshwater biosphere, and it's the first biosphere in the United States. So I got to be part of that project. My job specifically was the electronics. We have Wi-Fi underwater. We have, it's pretty high tech. We have a security camera that's broadcasting in 4K 24/7. And we can leave a link in the description again for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so people can just see the plants growing. I watch it all the time. I have it on my big screen TV upstairs, and my family gets annoyed with it, but I'm just sitting there just watching these plants grow. It becomes like your baby. It's something that I really got attached to. But what's really cool is, I mean, this thing isn't deep, right? I'm a tech diver. I do rebreather diving. It's something I'm very passionate about. I get to go check out these shipwrecks that are 100, 200 feet underwater in the Great Lakes here in the United States. And right now, I'm more excited about this little biosphere dome that's, you know, not very deep at all. And that's become a passion of mine and a project and something that I get to do. And it's very cool. So it's not a technical dive, but you know what? It is an awesome project that no one's doing right now.
So how deep is it, and how many people are involved in this?
So this particular biosphere is much more shallow than the ones in Italy, and it's because this is all brand new. They haven't done it before, and the water is very cold there. So I'll give you the temperatures so you can get an idea. Temperatures in the winter at that quarry are 38 degrees at the bottom, and they can get as cold as 34 degrees on the surface. That right before there's no thermocline in the winter. But in the summertime, it can get in the 70s on the surface, but that thermocline happens quickly at like 20 feet, 25 feet. It gets very cold at 35 feet. I mean, you have to wear a full, face mask. You got, a hood, that you have to do everything. So what they were worried about naturally is the viability of the plants in that temperature, in those temperatures. But so this biosphere is sitting right now, it's above 10 feet. So it's not very deep. But we're already finding that the plants are growing rapidly. Like I believe so far from what we're seeing, more rapid than the plants on the surface. And we know this because we've actually removed some of the plants that were growing and we brought them on the surface, which is pretty cool. They gave it to my kids. So my kids have a couple of these plants growing right now. We have basil upstairs. And so we're going to be able to track the progress and see the difference of the growth rates, for instance. Of course, once they're mature plants, then we can actually have these things analyzed and compare. They came from the same seed. They're the same, they come from the same family. Yeah. And then we could see, are they in fact different here in the US in freshwater compared to what they're doing in Italy, which is in saltwater.
They're in natural soil or on something artificial, or what do you grow them in?
This is pretty cool. So the plants are growing in water. So they're being cultivated without any soil. They're getting the nutrients from the air that's inside the biosphere, the nitrogen, the increased CO2 levels in that biosphere. They're getting their nutrients from the water, and it's crazy because if you go in there, it's hyper moist. And there's actually, they call it a biosphere because it is like a self-contained little world under there, which is nuts.
Yeah.
It rains inside the biosphere. So you have the condensation because of the cold water on the outside. And right now, the temperatures on the inside are like 98 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So whatever that is in metric. But
yeah, I'll actually put the Celsius in the video. Yeah.
So you have this world under there, and it's self-contained. And I should probably tell you this, it's pretty cool. When I first entered the biosphere, my first time, when I connected my phone, so I actually went under there and I turned my phone on and I did the first FaceTime call in history in a freshwater biosphere. And I called one of the business partners, and to let him know it was working, and another gentleman named Kevin Marks, a good friend of mine, who helped install the actual biosphere. And I said, hey, we're live. And as I'm talking to him, I swallowed a mayfly. There were thousands of these mayflies that very quickly hatched, or whatever you call that, but they were flying around in there. And these things were having their entire life cycle in this biosphere. They were being born in there, and they were dying in there. And I was literally taking my hand and just smearing them off of the shelf. There's a shelf that is on the perimeter, or on the inside, on the inside, but on the outside of like where we're standing. And I was smearing them off, just thousands of them. And mayfly season, that's all done now. But when we first installed this, it was rough. But yeah, I was swallowing those things. So I say that because how cool is that you're inside an environment that's never seen the actual light of day. It's never had the actual air, right? And these creatures are growing in there. What's really cool is on the live stream, I'd wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm watching these big bass come in, and these bluegill come in, and they're eating all of these things that are hatching out of the water. You can just see them. They're just having a feast. And it was just cool. And then all of a sudden, I look at the camera one day, and I see what I believe is a little sprout. You would have thought that I had like another child being born or something. It's like it becomes something like I never thought I'd be this excited about a little plant growing underwater, but people are watching it. We have thousands of people that are just like excited about this project, and it's so cool.
Wonderful. So do you have any bad experiences like with I mean, as far as I understand it, this quarry is a public place. You can go diving there, right?
You can. It is public. You pay to come in. And then once you're in, you can kind of explore. It goes as deep as 140 feet. And it's there's something for beginners all the way to, advanced technical divers. I did my trimix training there, and of course did my checkout dives in the Great Lakes, but it's for everybody. Yeah.
So you have issues with idiots like disturbing the biosphere or doing anything to it?
It's funny you said that, because I was just there Saturday attempting to do the first ever YouTube live stream, which technology was not my friend. And
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, it failed miserably, and I was so discouraged, but it is what it is. So we have a tarp that goes underneath, and it has the logo for Nemo's Garden. So that way, when people swim over top of it, snorkelers, divers, they can see that logo, and it's for advertising, but it just lets them know kind of who started this thing. Well, that tarp, its purpose is to keep people out. So when we go to enter the biosphere, we disconnect the outside perimeter, and we take that tarp and just let it kind of hang. And I'll send you pictures of all this. You can show people if you'd like, but that tarp hangs. Yeah. While I went to go see it on Saturday, the amount of growth was ridiculous. I mean, you almost couldn't see the logo. In just a week and a half, the amount of algae, and we have zebra mussels that are starting to form. They're all over the quarry there. So we have to keep that thing clean. Very quickly, we can see it's going to just get overrun if we don't maintain it. So I took that tarp off. And the reason I tell you that is the moment that I took it off, we had 2 people enter the biosphere. It's clearly marked, do not enter, video surveillance, but people come inside, and they've been warned before they even get in the water. But, people want their 5 seconds of fame. They want to get on that live stream. And what they're not realizing is it's actually a dangerous environment, because you can't breathe in there.
The CO2, yeah.
You have CO2, and the PO2 levels are actually lower than what are healthy to breathe. So it's a safety issue, but it's also, we don't want people disturbing the plants. There's a lot of electronics in there. So yeah, it's unfortunately, I think I know 12 instances already, but here's what we have. I go on my phone, and I have an app that's connected to the security camera, and I'll watch somebody swim up there, and I have an alarm, and I'll hit that alarm, and it scares the crap out of them. And you know how sound travels underwater. The entire quarry will hear this Yahoo going under there. And at the surface, they're going to be met by one of the staff members. So, we're not trying to be mean to anybody. We're not trying to bully anybody, but it's a safety issue. And there's a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort into this. And our friends there in Italy, Luca, He's the son of the founder of the Ocean Reef. They've put a lot of time, effort, and money, and I'm not going to let somebody ruin that, especially at our quarry. But yeah, so unfortunately, there are idiots out there that do things they're not supposed to.
Yeah, because we had the same issue, and that's obviously one of the downsides of these smaller, more accessible projects.
Yes.
We had another one called the Reef, where mostly ISE instructors and centers build a certain reef from bricks somewhere where they dive regularly. And there was a tripod in front of it, and then like make a picture every 3 days or so over the span of 1 year. And then like adding all these pictures, you can fast forward, see how this started to grow, what was growing on there, what fish, what crabs, etc. went on there. And we had this in freshwater and seawater. And I think 50% of these artificial reefs got destroyed by somebody who just, yeah. And I never understand this, and I was just curious if you have the same issue. Obviously, having more electronics and more expensive equipment there. But obviously, it's a huge difference. I mean, when you say it's a you have to pay entrance fee, and there's stuff on the scene, that's obviously a different thing than when you just go in somewhere in a lake and put this in, or somewhere from the beach. Also, there were clearly signs like, please don't touch, this is a project, we try to achieve something here, please don't disturb, but people usually just don't give a shit.
Unfortunately, it was shocking me too, and they wait for me to leave. I mean, these people, I don't know if they're like waiting. There's a wall right there, so you have the wall, and it goes down to like 125 feet immediately, and this thing's sitting right on the edge of the wall. So my theory is, at least these particular guys, they must have been looking at, because they weren't there. The second I'm gone, they're in the biosphere. I'm like, how the crap did you do that so fast? So yeah, you're gonna get people like that, and I'm not exactly sure. I guess the moral of the story for me is we're going to get 2 of the tarps, and we will remove one to clean and install the other one immediately, because people to go and take that off, you know how things are underwater, it's not as easy. So it's going to take them a little bit of time. It'll give us time to yell at them on the app, but I can talk to them on there. I can talk to them, by the way, on there as well. So I can actually speak to them. And so I'll hit the alarm and I'll say, please get out of the biosphere. Sometimes I'm not saying please.
Yeah, we probably need some video of that.
I think I might have some for you. If not, before you go and publish this thing, I promise you, I guarantee it's happening right now. So I will try my best to get you something, or at least a picture of one of the perps, and then you'll know who you are if you're watching it.
Yeah, perfect. So where's the quarry exactly?
It's located in Ottawa, Ohio, USA. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's a freshwater quarry. Okay. It's been there for a long time. It was a limestone quarry back in the day, and since then, here in the US, I'm not sure how it is there, but when a quarry is done being mined, or when they're done using all the resources out of it, they have to do one of 2 things. They have to either A, fill it back in, or B, let it fill up with water. And the filling back in is not an option when you're dealing with a quarry that size, 14 acres, whatever it is. And so they just let it naturally fill. And we have some amazing freshwater springs underneath that quarry, so it filled up quick. And that's why the water's so clear at that particular place and why it's so cold.
Yeah, I was wondering because I saw pictures, and obviously we'll put something in the video here so people get an idea. I was always amazed by the visibility, and obviously we have these quarries here as well. We had especially in the northern part of Germany, we have quite a few. It's not a quarry; it was coal mining, brown coal mining, which gives these huge lakes. But they're usually not very clear because of what was mined. But if it was a limestone quarry, then obviously there should be not much sediment or tannic water or anything in it. So that explains the great visibility. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into that project? Did people just come to you, or did you apply for it, or was that a possibility for other people as well, or how did that happen?
So I have donated my time at the quarry for quite a few years now. Again, like I said, I got certified there as an open water diver. I got certified there right through my trimix stuff. So I've been there. And back in 2017, I got certified in 2016, so not that long ago. 2017, I asked the original owner of the quarry if I could help him with a website, and he reluctantly said yes. And my reason was I just wanted to have a project that was dive related so I could be part of the dive industry in any way I possibly could. And so I started the website, and then eventually took over the Facebook page. So I was there already, and then we got new owners. Full Tank LLC acquired the quarry a couple years ago, and they brought me on because I was already doing the website for the original owner. So I was a trusted person. They brought me on, and then because I was doing that stuff, and I got brought on as their IT consultant, and then one of the IT director at the quarry. So that just kind of put me in position to help do this with the electronics and to get it all set up. So it was something that I was kind of in. However, this is something that we are allowing people to be part of that are not staff at the quarry. And this is how we're doing it. We're going to be allowing people to come on, and we're going to be doing tours. And they can actually be part of the team for the day. So they'll come on, we'll train them using specialized equipment, the full face masks. All of it is Ocean Reef branded stuff. And they will actually get a chance to monitor the plants, take measurements, actually help us with the log and just make sure everything is sent over to Italy. So they're going to be part of this project. Anybody can do it. And it's just something that we're going to open up to the public with our help. But it's something that people can experience. It's not just going to be from the outside looking in.
That's very cool. It's actually very similar to what we did with the Reef, because we used these, or most of the centers that had the reefs used them in their courses. For example, their advanced courses. So that was always the target for the compass navigation, and then you basically, the centers or the instructors who were involved in this had the possibility to show people something different, their students something different. You were not just swimming out there hoping to see a fish or something like that, but you could go to a certain place and explain the project and have people be part of it. Like, you count how many of this species are there, you take measurements of how this plant has been growing over the last week, etc., etc. And exactly what you said, you could start involving people and create interest.
Yeah, and it already has. People are very excited about the project. We've been able to bring just a very select few come into the biosphere, people that we know really, but to let them kind of help out and aid with little things. And people are very excited about it. I just think it's awesome that it's a project that advanced beginners right through advanced, everybody can help out. This isn't something that is inaccessible to the most basic divers. It's shallow enough for an open water diver to go in and see, with our help.
That's awesome. I don't know if the audio is probably getting bad now because we have a really severe thunderstorm here, and I'm sitting in the attic of my office building, and I have a metal roof. Do you hear that?
Nope. So I believe Zoom is going to edit out. It sounds clear to me. Your audio sounds the same as it did the moment that we got on.
Okay, cool. Because it sounds like the world's going down at the moment. So, but it's good if you don't hear it in the video.
Nope, I don't hear it.
Yeah, I guess that gave us a pretty good idea of what you're doing there. I think it's an amazing project. So if that would be a little bit closer, I would probably sneak in and have a look. And then wave to you when you see me on your cell phone. Oh, it's you. Yeah. So I hope my viewers like that. So ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comment section if you would be interested in joining something like that. Please also check out the pond video, and I'm looking forward to an interesting discussion. Steve, I would be very happy if you could check this video in the next couple of days as well. And if people ask specific questions, maybe you can answer them.
Would love that.
And as I said, please check out Steve's channel, Dive Current. You will find it also under my recommended channels on the ISE channel. So it's prominently there. Steve, thank you very, very much for your time and giving us a little bit of an idea about this project. and we stay in touch and hopefully dive together in the near future.
I would love that, man. And I just need to say a shout out to Kevin Marks, CC Marks, and my buddy Don. They're the guys who installed the biosphere. So I never want to take any kind of credit for something that they did. They helped do the physical installation. I did the electronics. So I just want to make sure credit to where credit is due. So thank you, sir. It's been fun.
Cool. Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Steve, thank you very much. And we talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.